Okay, we're recording.
Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the Harwich Finance Committee meeting. It is Wednesday, March 29th, 2023. I will call the meeting to order. As required by the open meeting law, you are hereby informed that the town will be video and audio recording as well as live broadcasting this public meeting. In addition, anyone in the audience who intends to video or audio tape this meeting must notify the chair prior to the start of the meeting. Okay, so I just we'll do a little roll call of who's here in Town Hall, in the meeting room, physically present. Mark Kelleher, Mark Amarez, Dan Torick, Bob McCready, and Peter Hughes. And committee members who are live streaming with us or video with us, Dana DaCosta, Karen Doucette, and Michelle Gallucci. So we do have a quorum present. I will note that Angelo Vecchia is not with us this evening. He is still having trouble with his knees, so I talked to him this morning. Anyhow, so we are in session. First order of business, we had the minutes from the joint Board of Selectmen Finance Committee meeting that we had on Saturday, March 4th. The minutes have been provided to you. I believe the selectmen voted them or approved them at their meeting on Monday. At least it was on the agenda. So I would entertain a motion to accept those minutes.
So moved.
I second.
Okay, so Bob McCready moved it to approve, and Mark A., just for the purposes of making this, I'm just taking a note here, seconded the motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call vote. Mark K.
Aye.
Mark A.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Bob.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You weren't.
This is the 4th?
Yes.
Okay, I was there.
Yep. You're an aye, right? Bob.
Aye.
Okay. Michelle.
Aye.
Dana.
Aye.
Karen.
Aye.
Chairman's ayes. It's 8-0. We have 8 members potentially voting tonight. Last meeting I followed up and kept saying 9-0. Unfortunately, our Judy, our minute taker, corrected that. Okay, next, the meeting we had last Wednesday, March 22nd, 2023. The minutes of that meeting. Dan, you were not there, so you'll just make that clear. I would entertain a motion to accept.
So moved.
So moved. I second.
Wait, Bob got in there first, so. Bob motion, Mark A. seconded. Discussion? I just point out, Dana, if you haven't read them in detail, we did in here identify anyone who voted in the negative on any of these articles or abstained. So when we give our input into the Board of Selectmen for what goes in the warrant, they're going to want the individual names, you know what I mean? Like they did last year. And so in here, we identified those exceptions, let's put it that way, okay? Unless you didn't record them, all right? All right, any further discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, Mark K.
Aye.
Mark A.
Aye.
Abstain.
Aye.
Okay, so Dan abstained because he wasn't there. Bob McCready is an aye. Dana?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
And the chairman is an aye. So it's 7-0-1 with Dan abstaining. Okay? Good. Housekeeping out of the way. All right, so that'll get us back to our business of the evening, which is trying to get through the warrant. I sent you this afternoon the latest version of the warrant that I got out of the selectman's office that includes their votes from Monday night. Did you all get that?
Yes.
Yes.
You may not have had a chance to print or whatever, but that at least tells us where they are at the moment, okay? And Dana, let me just ask from an organizational standpoint, are you ready to just start running through where we had holes from before and take those items up, or do you have some other way you'd like to go through this?
No, I have two articles that, well, one article we should reconsider because the money has changed pretty significantly from what we voted. And then if you go back to Article 3, the salary and wages article, there was a slight difference in that one, but all that money's in the budget, which we haven't voted yet. So I don't think we have to revote that one, but I just wanted on the record that there was a slight change. We noticed that change. We make a record of that change. It was in the town clerk's salary. All the rest of them are the same. So with that in mind, I would consider to move Article 23, the reserve appropriation amounts for CPC accounts.
Hang on a second, you're up to 23.
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
we'll go back and get the others after we housekeep this.
All right, go ahead.
I move to reconsider it.
I second.
Hang on. All right, so move to reconsider the article. Dana has made the motion and Mark A. has seconded it. Discussion on reconsideration?
That's a non-debatable one.
Yeah, I know, but we're gonna discuss it, just Bob has a question.
So are we discussing the article or what?
We're just at the moment getting it on the table to reconsider because we voted it before.
Oh, okay.
Now we want to go back and revisit it because something has changed.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay,
good.
what's that?
No, I understand now. Got it. That was my question. Okay.
Okay, so on a motion to reconsider, Mark K,
Aye.
Mark A,
Aye.
Dan,
All right.
Bob,
Aye.
Dana,
Aye.
Karen,
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
chair is an aye, so 8-0 to reconsider. Okay, Dana, we're reconsidering.
Okay, I would move that we accept and adopt the article with $399,900 being moved from CPC funds. And it's the three different ways. One is 198,700 going to open space, and then 151,200 going to community housing, and 50,000 from FY 2024 anticipated revenue going to administration to make up the 399,000. That's my motion.
Okay. So, okay, so what
That
you're,
matches what we have presently on their warrant, the select.
right. Okay, so does everybody have the article in front of them, Article 23? And so the numbers are set aside the sum of $198,700 for the open space reserve, $151,200 for the community housing reserve, and appropriate from FY 2024 estimated annual revenue, the sum of $50,000 for administrative purposes. Anybody add up those numbers?
You should, yes.
Huh?
You should, yes.
Yeah, I'm getting 399,900.
That's what I got.
399,000?
900.
Yeah, 900.
That's a big difference from 2 million.
Just a bit.
Yeah, that's what I thought we should reconsider.
Yeah. Okay, discussion, wait. Okay, so Dana made the motion, accept and adopt, right?
Yeah,
Did you second it?
Second. Mark A.
So Mark A, second. And the total is $399,000. Discussion? Bob?
This is certainly a significant change from any history of this article, which has traditionally been used to assign the 10% requirements to the three reserves and the remainder, or the remainder less administrative set aside to the unallocated reserve, or whatever bucket name they're using. And the three 10% set-asides are required by the Act, so I don't understand how these numbers have been arrived at.
Okay. Dana, do you have any clarification on that?
I have done either. I don't know why my only thought is that they're going based on how they're spending it. And they're certainly spending the 10% in those categories. But I don't know why they're not giving up the reform money either. Maybe that's a question for the board if we have a reconciliation meeting at some point for the selectmen.
Okay, we also could, no recommendation pending further information on this, if that was appropriate.
Yeah, we can do that if you want.
I think it's not good if there's an open question of that magnitude. It's not good, I don't think, good practice for us to vote it. I think we should do no recommendation pending further information, and we can just say in the explanation at the moment, we don't understand the composition of this.
All right, so I'll withdraw my motion if the second will withdraw the second.
Okay, will you withdraw your
I
second?
withdraw the second, Marquez.
Okay, so that motion is withdrawn.
I'll make a new motion, no recommendation pending further information.
Okay,
It's
so,
real easy.
in our PFI for Dana, Markey is seconding.
I second it.
Mark
Spelling's
A.
a little off, but
Mark A. seconded it. Discussion? Hearing
It's
now,
still noting the amount of $399.90, because that's what they have, but
I'm sorry, what?
I still have a note of the $399.90, so we have records of the two different numbers.
Yeah, but we need a justification for it, right?
Yep,
Okay. All right, so we'll put it to a vote. Dana?
aye,
Michelle?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mark A?
aye.
Mark K?
Aye.
Dan?
All right.
Bob?
Aye.
Chairman's an aye, so 8-0. Again, the motion was no recommendation pending further information. Okay, what's the next one you want to go to, Dana?
so that's all I have for going through what we've already voted. Everything else that I would bring up tonight, we haven't voted on, so it'll just be a straight motion and vote.
Yep.
I have noted that they have voted for the operating budget. I'm prepared to vote in support of the operating budget. The operating budget has no overrides or anything like that, and the only question we would have to answer is, do we want to take out positions, or do we want to just note that in front of town meeting and discuss it there? So,
All right, so what I prefer you to do, if you make a motion to accept and adopt, we'll get it on the table and then we can have that discussion, okay?
all right, I'll move to accept and adopt the operating budget with $43,100.
43 million.
$43,130,177 coming from taxes, raise and appropriate, $25,716,548. Local receipts, $15,782,472. Other receipts, $1,631,157 for a total.
And that's what's in the table that's in the warrant.
Yeah.
I'm just clarifying that.
What article is that, Dana?
That's Article 4.
4, yeah.
And I'm going by the latest one I sent you, so.
Page 11.
Okay, is there a second to
I
Dana's?
second Mark
Okay.
A.
Okay. Okay, so the motion is to accept and adopt Article 4, the town operating budget of $43,130,177 from the sources identified in the article. So, for discussion, I would say this. In the rack-up of the town budget, at the end, the famous, whatever it is, Exhibit B or whatever, they do list the positions without the cost numbers associated with them. I did ask Karen, and Karen updated the position matrix that we have, that she has prepared to maintain for us as we go along, with the positions and the numbers associated with it. And if you remember right, when we had a finance director, we were trading numbers back and forth at one point in time. In this latest version of the operating budget, the two part-time positions, one associated with conservation, one associated with the building department, have morphed into one position, at least as far as I can tell, which is a full-time position with benefits. There is also not in there, originally there was a slot for a human resources person, and I don't see that anywhere, so I think that's, at least for the moment, gone away. It is my intent, since the chairman of the finance committee, in essence, gets to make a budget message or statement at town meeting, that within my budget message, I plan to identify these positions and costs. So I think as far as folks knowing what is there, as far as new positions and growing government, et cetera, that information will be made clear at town meeting. In my head, I'm okay with that. It's up to you folks if you are. The other thing you need to wrap your head around, are you okay with the positions themselves, whether they're identified or not? I think from what I heard, they are justified. From the standpoint of, we heard from the fire chief, we heard from the customer service needs of conservation and the inspection, building inspector departments, et cetera, expanding or getting back almost to normal, the community center, that type of thing. So I'm okay with that. We need to have a discussion, see if you folks are, but that is the motion that's on the table before us. So further discussion on that motion. Hearing none, I
I have a
assume.
question.
Go ahead, Michelle.
So I know we were talking about an administrative person, and I think that we discussed possibly that administrative person serving more than one department. Has that been worked out at all, or we don't know exactly how that would work out?
They have decided, well, what I can tell is they've decided instead of having two part-time people, one serving each of those departments, they'll make it one full-time position with benefits, and that time will be split equitably somehow between those two departments. That's their job to figure that out and manage that process, so.
And
Okay.
those two departments were buildings and conservation?
Yep. Yep, and
Okay.
that's identified the matrix. Yep. And they are, and by the way, they are contained at the moment in this building. It's not like there's one at Sisson Road and one up here, at least at the moment, that kind of thing.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
okay? Further discussion? Bob?
Yes, and only the fact of that, based upon what you said about what you intend to include in your budget message, that gets me to voting in support of this. Without that, I would not want to.
Yep, no, I wrestled with it myself, quite frankly, and knowing the process of town meeting and by the way, my budget message, when I write it, will be shared with all of you so you can have input to it. I mean, I don't want you to be surprised or anything. And by the way, I can use all the help I can get. But I came back to saying, okay, at least we have a chance to say it. And by the way, it's probably most effective on town meeting floor as opposed to buried in the warrant somewhere, you know, that kind of thing, so. I'm pretty confident about it, so. All right, further discussion on that motion. Again, the motion is accept and adopt the operating budget, $43,130,177. All right, we'll put that to a vote. Mark K. Mark A.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Bob. Michelle.
Aye.
Karen.
Aye.
Dana.
Aye.
Chairman's an aye, so it's 8-0.
Can I jump in here with a question before we
Yes.
keep going?
Yeah, go ahead,
on?
go ahead.
Well, I found one other change in what was approved yesterday, in addition to 23. Article 17. I think we voted for 750,000, and it was voted on Monday for 775.
Wait, I have to look at 17.
The water retained earnings article.
Yeah, Peter, he is correct. I didn't know if it was big enough to make a change. We could do that.
So wait. Dana, if I look at, excuse me for a second, this is housekeeping. If I look at your Finance Committee recommendations made, well, what's the date? It's 3/26.
Yeah,
If I look at Article 17, the way you have it, did you say 17?
It's 17 in last night's publication. It's the water retained earnings article, capital plan water retained earnings.
No, wait. 17 is capital outlay plan items funded from water retained earnings, $775,000.
Right.
Right?
We voted at 750 last week.
We voted 700, I think.
no,
What?
750.
Yeah, our
He's
minutes,
correct,
our minutes say 750.
Yeah. The 700 was for, road money.
Okay, but Dana, when I look at your write-up, your Article 17 says capital outlay projects funded from water retained earnings. It has a number, 4,552,834. There's something wrong here. I think you had that,
That's the water department budget.
That's the water department budget.
yeah, so I'm just telling you, in your write-up, you got a sequence wrong or something.
Okay. What you get for hiring
You
humans?
see that?
The cat did it.
I just want to make sure we get it right.
Yeah, you are correct, yes.
Okay, so what we need to do on Article 17, which is,
Yes, is 18.
yeah, I know, yeah. So what we need to do on Article 17 is
It's moved
move to reconsider, Bob.
Okay,
Okay, so Bob's moving to reconsider.
I am.
I second. Mark A.
So, and the reason I'm making notes is because when these things get transcribed, they gotta be checked to make sure we have this right.
Yep,
Okay, motion to reconsider, Mark K.
Aye.
Mark A.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Bob.
Aye.
Dana.
aye,
Karen.
Aye.
Michelle.
Aye.
Okay, chair is an aye, so it's 8-0. Okay. Bob, would you care to make a motion?
I make a motion that we vote to approve Article 17,
Accept and adopt.
accept and adopt for $775,000.
Is there a second?
I second. Mark A.
from water retained earnings, right?
From
Yes.
water retained earnings, yes.
Okay. Okay, moved and seconded to accept and adopt Article 17, capital outlay plan items funded from the water retained earnings. The amount is $775,000, and the point being that previously in our last meeting, we were at $700,000. So, discussion on the motion. Hearing none, I'll put it to vote. Dana?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Mark A?
Aye.
Mark K?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Chair is an aye, 8-0. Thank you. Any other housekeeping ones we have to go back to? Okay, let's move on. I'm just wandering through the,
We have a combination, Peter, of ones that we made no recommendation on before, and then we have ones that are brand new to the warrant.
Okay.
Either way,
okay, I want to go, I want to go straight through it with with two exceptions, and that is we'll probably hold off on the capital outlay stuff until we get through some other stuff, okay? So the next one I have is 11, which is a lease purchase agreements.
I move we accept and adopt lease purchase agreements.
There a second?
I second. Mark A.
I got it, yep. Okay, moved and seconded to accept Article 11, which is lease purchase agreements. Discussion. Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. Mark K?
Aye.
Mark A?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
The chair is an aye, 8-0. Okay, next one I have is 14, the opioid settlement distribution.
I move to accept and adopt Article 14 with $60,000 coming from free cash for that bucket.
I second.
So that was Mark A. seconding. 60,000, free cash, you said, right?
Yeah, it's a designation within the free cash for
The
this
numbers don't match.
special program that they did. There's a little over 61,000 of it now. The selectmen have a proposal to spend in 3 different ways the 60,000.
Okay, and in the explanation, it said we got almost $64,000, but that doesn't mean we're spending it, so. Okay, so Article 14, the opioid settlement distributions, the motion is accept and adopt $60,000. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. Mark A?
Aye.
Mark K? Dan?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Chair is an aye, 8-0, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna skip the capital plan at the moment, and the capital outlay free cash spending, I'm gonna just skip those for a moment, okay?
Okay.
So, let's see, that gets us, I think, through the CPC stuff. I think the next one is Article 35.
Yep.
Okay, so let me just get to it. So Article 35, accept Mass General Law, Section 41, Chapter 41, Section 110A, by request of the Board of Selectmen. It has to do with, we acted a little bit about this last time, about office hours on Saturday. And they were accept and adopt. Have a motion?
I move to accept and adopt Article 35.
I second.
Okay. Dana moved to accept and adopt. Mark A. seconded. And that is to approve or accept and adopt Article 35. Discussion?
Now, we were, I think, let's see, Elizabeth Harder was speaking with us on this, I believe, last week, and told us that this purely had to do with election, in practice, was going to purely have to do with election staffing. Just to re-clarify what we talked about last week.
That was my understanding as well. Okay. Further discussion? Hearing none, we'll
She
put,
did.
yep,
Yes, she did make a presentation before the Board of Selectmen. If anybody needs more details, they can listen to that.
okay. All right, any more discussion? All right, I'll put it to a vote. Karen, what are you eating? Oh, okay. Dana,
Aye.
Karen,
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
Mark K.
Aye.
Mark A.
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Bob.
Aye.
Chair is an aye, 8-0, thank you. All right, next I have 36. Amend General Bylaws, Chapter 300, Water. If you read all those things, I think the major difference, if only difference, is the fine, or fines. The first violation goes from $50 to $100, and the second one, in subsequent violations, from $100 to $300. Those are the only things I saw in here. So, there a
Move to
motion?
accept it.
So Dana moves to accept and adopt, right?
Yep.
There a second?
I second. Mark A.
Mark A. seconds. Discussion? Bob?
Now, I believe that earlier, including the presentation that was made on this at the time, the earlier version did try to take up wells, private wells, but I think there was finally a conclusion and apparently in this assumingly final draft that the well topic has been taken out, which I think is what was also mentioned at the Board of
I
Selectmen.
think
meeting.
that's true.
And they did go ahead and do that. There's no mention of wells in here.
Right, right. Okay, further discussion? Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. Mark K.
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Mark A.
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
How's the cat voting?
No. Just
Abstain.
And chair is an aye, so 8-0, thank you. Okay, next I have 37. This has to do with accessory dwelling units. ADUs, as they are called.
Move to accept and adopt.
Hang on one second, please. Just,
Yep.
okay. So accept and adopt is the motion by Dana. There a second?
I second. Mark A.
Mark A. seconds. Discussion. Okay, hearing none, we'll
Again,
put, go ahead.
it just offers more clarity to what's existing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, one of the things about this, I think this is gonna be continuously evolving. Especially as I call this, like tiny houses start showing up and whatever. It's gonna be a good thing for housing, I think. Okay, any further discussion? Mark A.
Aye.
Mark K.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Bob.
Aye.
Dana.
Aye.
Karen.
Aye.
Michelle.
Aye.
Chair is an aye, 8-0, thank you. Okay, next one, 37. Oops. We just did 37, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. 38 is floodplain regulations with lots of underlined stuff and Hopefully no one's in a floodplain. Motion?
Move to accept and adopt?
Second?
Okay, who seconded?
Mark.
Ooh,
Okay.
Mark K, all right, changing it up. Mark K seconded. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. Mark A,
Aye.
Mark K,
Aye.
Aye.
Dan, Bob, Michelle,
Aye.
Karen,
Aye.
Dana.
Aye.
All right, chair is an aye, 8-0. All right, next one. It has to do with large-scale solar arrays. I do have a couple issues with this, and I don't know if they're significant or not, but, you know, they talk about requiring the applicant to do noise studies and shading studies, but I didn't see anywhere in here where it says what an acceptable answer to those studies is. Like, for instance, does it have to meet a noise level of this level, or how they define shading and what that means, you know, when you take the information or the data, that kind of thing. And you also had no provision that I can see in here that deals with any storage potentially associated with an array. So I think there are some deficiencies, but what they have in front of us is better than what we have had before. So I'll go with your judgments if someone wants to make a motion.
Move to accept and adopt?
Okay, Dana moved to accept and adopt. There's a second.
I second.
So Mark A seconded. Further discussion?
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Bob.
think this came up in particular related to the residential question that was brought up by people on or off Lower County Road. And so I was more focused perhaps on that the last paragraph, said the section on residential photovoltaics. And I guess it's whether or not you're satisfied with with at the same time having the ground-mounted solar panels not exceeding 15 feet in height, and the screening requirement, the screening required, and the fact that it's got to be located completely behind your house is my reading of the way it defines location, which is certainly different than the one being questioned by the homeowners in the area, in almost all of those categories, I guess. And so, you know, do we want to be limiting in this regard, limiting the conditions under which you could do something like they did, which would now not be permissible?
Yeah, I think that hopefully when this is brought up at town meeting, the folks with those concerns will raise those concerns. I think is, you know, probably more appropriate.
Yes, I know I think they have been actively taken part in this conversation
Yeah,
as it's gone
yeah,
on.
and they have, you know, as everybody does, the right to speak on town meeting floor.
Yeah.
And sometimes amendments are made and, you know, things happen, so.
Yep.
Okay, further discussion, the motion is to accept and adopt. Hearing none, we'll put it to vote. Mark A,
Aye.
Mark K,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
Karen? Karen?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Chair is an aye, 8-0. Okay, next one I have is 40 is the school agreement.
We don't actually have an agreement yet, so I would recommend no recommendation pending further information.
Okay, so Dana made, hang on. Interestingly enough, the selectmen did vote to accept and adopt, which is,
Yes, exactly.
okay, Dana moves, is there a second?
Second. Mark A.
This is on Article 40, which is the agreement between the towns of Chatham and Harwich respect to the regional school district. The recommendation is no recommendation, or the motion is no recommendation pending further information. Discussion? I think it's appropriate. So we'll put it to vote. Dana?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Mark A?
Aye.
Mark K?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Chair is an aye, 8-0, thank you. Okay, next. We did the cemetery last time, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. You can see how many things of paper I have in front of me. We're trying to just keep this straight. All right. Next is Article 42, right? That's an
Yeah,
easement.
on 40, 42, 43, and 44, I only have one question, and that was the funding source. I know they're not big amounts, I'm assuming it's free cash, but I don't know if they have something else in mind.
Well, we can vote it as free cash and come back and revisit it if we need to.
Yep, that will be my motion.
Okay, so you're on Article 42,
Yep,
accept and adopt from free cash.
$10,000, yes.
And that's Dana.
I
Second?
second, Mark A.
Mark A. seconds. Okay, so the motion is accept and adopt Article 42, $10,000 from free cash. Discussion. Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. Mark A.
Aye.
Mark K.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Bob.
Aye.
Michelle.
Aye.
Dana.
Aye,
Karen. See how I mixed that up?
Aye.
The chair is an aye, 8-0, thank you. Okay, next would be Article 43, authorize the selectmen to convey parcel land at 276 Queen Anne Road.
move to accept and adopt $10,000 free cash.
Hang on a second.
This is me hanging on.
Okay, is there a second?
I second, Mark A.
Okay, moved and seconded to accept and adopt Article 43, which is a parcel of land at 276 Queen Anne Road. Accept and adopt $10,000 from free cash. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. Dana?
Aye,
Karen?
I'll say aye, and this one and the next one do say from free cash, so,
Free cash.
yeah.
Michelle?
Aye.
Mark A?
Aye.
Mark K?
Aye.
Dan? Bob?
Aye.
Chair is an aye, 8-0. 8-0, thank you. Someone, Dana, you rack up, you're keeping track of how much free cash we're spending, right?
yes.
Yeah, okay, I know it's,
Because we haven't done that big capital article yet.
no, I know.
We'll-
Okay, next is Article 44, acquisition of Forest Street property.
Move to accept and adopt $5,000 from free cash.
Is there a
I
second?
second.
So Mark A. seconded, so Article 44, the Forest Street property, accept and adopt $5,000 from free cash. Discussion. Bob?
Anybody personally know which lot this actually is? I read the description, but I can't image what property that is. Anybody happen to know?
0 Forest Street.
Is an indicator of a connection to Parallel Street.
Yeah, I think you'd have to get out the,
So nobody knows that offhand?
yeah, I
Okay.
know,
Thank
no.
you.
It's somewhere in that neighborhood. They used to put Christmas lights once in a while, you know, over there someplace. All right, further discussion. Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. Mark K.
Aye.
Mark A.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Bob.
Aye.
Michelle. Karen.
Aye.
Dana.
Aye.
Chair is an aye, 8-0. All right. Next one is Article 45, authorization payment in lieu of taxes. Acronym is pilot agreements. Interesting, huh?
I move to accept and adopt.
Okay, moving to accept and adopt. Is there a second?
I second.
Discussion?
I guess I wonder if this is gonna eventually have an implication on the overlay account, but right now, there's no indication that there's been any changes to that account. That's still running on a surplus. And I guess we'll wait and see how well the pilot program goes.
Right, exactly. Interesting to see what happens if they do the park and ride at,
Yeah.
on 124.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to visualize what that's gonna look like, but anyhow, that's another discussion. Okay, it's a move to accept and adopt Article 45, payment in lieu of taxes agreements. Further discussion? Hearing none, we'll put it to vote. Mark K.
Aye.
Mark A.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Bob.
Aye.
Dana.
Aye.
Karen.
Aye.
Michelle.
Aye.
Chair is an aye, 8-0. Thank you. Okay, next. We did the revolving funds, right?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Okay, we did that last time. Next I have 47. Last time we did a no recommendation pending further information. Okay.
Actually, this is the new one that has the 475,000.
Yeah, this is the brand new one.
Well, this is called supplemental funding for Brooks Academy renovations,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
It
this,
has a source at land sinking fund, so
Yep.
I'll move accept and adopt $475,000 from land sinking funds.
What is
Land
that?
sales fund.
Sale of land sinking fund.
all right, so Dana moved to accept and adopt 475,000 from land sinking fund. This is Brooks Academy renovations. Is there a second?
Did you have a question?
Who?
I was just wondering what sale of land sinking fund is.
What is going on?
Generated.
He wants to know what the fund is.
What the fund is?
Yeah, I just had never heard that one before.
Well, what they've said in the past is things like when they sold the fire station, or sell the old fire station, sell the West Harwich School, those are pieces of real estate that get sold, and that goes into a fund, which is apparently what this is tapping into. Okay?
Okay,
That's my understanding as well.
Yeah,
yeah. Okay, thanks.
I second. Mark A.
okay. Okay, discussion on the motion to accept and adopt? Bob?
I mean, I was unaware of this fund's existence also, so my only comment is it'd be nice to know more about the history of that fund.
We haven't sold many properties lately. I mean, I think that's why it's coming up. Okay, so if I look at this thing in total, and I'm just talking for Brooks Academy, the language in here under the explanation says that, where is it? Hang on a second. This says that it will complete the renovations to Brooks Academy, complete, okay? But yet, if you go back on the original capital plan that we had, it was 600, 400,000, 460,000,
600.
600,000 to do some work, and I don't see that in there anymore. I'm kind of hopping around a little bit here. But it seems like this has taken the place of that. Plus, we have the CPC article for 600 some odd thousand that does some work at Brooks Academy as well, right?
Yes.
And this says, in this article, that's the end of the funding. I mean, as far as any more work that needs to get done. Am I reading something wrong here?
No, that was the information we got last time where they said that, this article would go in and replace that $600,000 that was gonna come from free cash. But they, as you said, they also needed the 690 to go through from CPC. So basically, it just looks like a reduction.
So they save some money in free cash. When we get to the last, one of the last articles, it talks about taking what money we have left and setting it aside, basically. One of them has to do with the housing trust.
Yeah.
And so there's not a number there, but I know the selectmen have had a difference between CPC, what they voted, 250? CPC?
Yeah.
Yes.
And the 500 that was sort of originally there. And I think that's where they tend to, or want to put some of the free cash. I'm just pointing that out, my cursory read of the warrant, so, Dan.
Can we find out, get more information about this fund, sort of what it can be used for, and what the money can be used for, and how much is in it? Just curious.
The only thing I can tell you is, I've read comments that they ran into problems with foundation surprises that need to be addressed as they go forward. I saw a number on that, like 200. No, I didn't even want to speculate what the number was, but somehow it got morphed into this. And I think it has to do with the funding source.
Yeah, it's more about the funding source, but like, I understand that they ran into unknown problems to get that. But because I had never heard of this before and I don't know how much is in there, but also what it can be used for specifically. And then, I guess I look at this as, it's sort of like, it feels like a little bit like more free cash, if you ask me, just enough bucket of money we could pull from. But I was curious in terms of what we could use it for. It just adds to that pot of spending more.
So in the explanation, it says that the law requires said funds, which are the land sinking fund, to be used on any outstanding debts on those buildings, of which there are none, it says here. Therefore, the funds can be used in the manner requested above. So they have gone, I'm assuming, to town council and said, can we do this in this manner, and town council agreed with them. So I have to assume that's the case. So, all right, Dan, did you have a, yeah?
Yeah, it's, my understanding of a sinking fund is set up a sinking fund to pay off debt. But yet, this apparently is being used as some type of a revenue producing fund, if they're using it for the purposes stated. So I just don't understand that.
Apparently, Mass General Law lets you do that, so I mean, that's all I can tell you. You know, we have to make that assumption.
So it sounds more like a revolving fund than a sinking fund, because my experience.
Well, I think what it is, you sell property, you have to settle up with whatever you owe on that property, and then you end up with money left over that sits somewhere from the proceeds of those lands or buildings, right? And then what are the applicable uses of those funds? And they have determined that this is an applicable use of those funds, so.
And apparently determined that the residual cash doesn't come back to the general fund.
Right, yeah. Okay, further discussion?
It sends shivers up an accountant's spine.
Well, if we had a finance director, I would bring him or her in here, but, okay. Any further discussion? The motion is to accept and adopt $575,000. This is associated Brooks Academy renovations from the land sinking fund. All right, hearing none, I'm going to put it to a vote. Dana?
Aye.
Karen,
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
Mark A.
Abstain.
Ooh, Mark K.
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Bob.
Abstain.
Ooh, okay. Chair is an aye, so we have 6-0-2, and the 2 are Mark A. and Bob. Okay? So the motion does carry 6-0-2. All right, then we get to Article 48, supplemented appropriation for Judah Eldridge property. Dana, do you have a motion on that?
Yeah, as near as I can tell, this says, it says it's gonna come from available funds, so I'll move that, it says it's total available, I don't know. It says it's coming from free cash, so I'll move, we accept and adopt $400,000 from free cash.
All right, Dana's made a motion to accept and adopt $400,000 from free cash. Is there a second?
I second. Mark A.
So it's been moved and seconded. Article 48, the supplemental appropriation for Judah Eldridge property. I think this has been sitting around since 2018. My guess is that it took them a while to come to a negotiated, sell price, if you will, or purchase and sales agreement. And since 2018 to now, which is 5 years ago, we all know what the price of things, particularly real estate, has done. So that's what we get for waiting around, I guess, right? Or maybe we didn't have the right number in the first place. So anyhow, further discussion on the motion. Again, the motion is to accept and adopt. Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. Bob?
Aye.
See, I'm doing it different this way.
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Mark K? Mark A?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
All right, chair is an aye, 8-0. Thank you for that. Okay, Article 49, transfer free cash to the stabilization funds, plural. And you see in that, that number will change, I think, as we get the final tally as we work through town meeting. But this is where they had the Affordable Housing Special Purpose Stabilization Fund. I think that's where they're trying, or will be trying to put, say, the $250,000 difference. I'm just guessing, from the Housing Trust. I'm just guessing. But I do think that we need to accept and adopt this, and we'll figure out the numbers, quite frankly, as we get through town meeting and see what we rack up with free cash left over. Dana, do you have a motion?
Yeah, I do. I move to accept and adopt $1,200,000 from free cash to the stabilization fund.
I second. Mark A.
Okay, moved and seconded to accept and adopt the $1,200,000 from free cash to the stabilization fund. Discussion. Bob?
I guess same question as we had just a few minutes ago, which is, I know I'm not familiar with the Affordable Housing Special Purpose Stabilization Fund.
Yep.
How it came about and what's in it, what funds would be in it. So that's why I certainly can't comment on that $250,000, because
Yeah, I don't know if it's the same pot or not.
Not the trust.
I don't know.
I
Yeah.
think they'd mention the trust if they wanted to mention the trust.
Oh, maybe.
So it's some pot of money, again, that's been created. Perhaps it's first where the money from the cell tower goes or something, I'm not sure, but it's another mystery as to how these funds get created.
Okay, I will say this, as we wind down our business, and this isn't the last article in town meeting, far from it, but was spent a lot of free cash, and at some point we'll know what the balance is, or should be. Certainly, I think it's an easier argument to say that a good portion of that should go toward the stabilization fund instead of just spending it, so I think we're gonna do that. The motion will be made specifically as we get to this, that identifies how much in each of those, and that'll be a discussion on town meeting floor. That's my feeling, okay? Just don't get tired at the end of night 3 and, we lose the discussion.
I guess we've got a lot to look forward to.
I know, all right. Further discussion on the motion. Again, the motion is accept and adopt $1.2 million free cash to the stabilization funds. All right, I'm gonna put it to a vote. Mark K.
Aye.
Mark A.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Bob.
Aye.
Michelle.
Aye.
Karen.
Aye.
Dana.
Aye.
Okay, 8-0. Thank you. Oh, Mark, go ahead.
This fund was created during special town meeting, October 2021, as Article 6.
October 11th. Oh, 2021, I'm sorry.
So if people want to go back to 2021, they can look at Article 6.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
there.
you very much.
You know the fund balance? Okay, hang on. Article 50, prior year's unpaid bills. This is a pretty standard thing. Dana, do you have a,
Yes, I move we accept and adopt $10,696 from free cash.
okay, Dana moved, accept and adopt $10,696 from free cash. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, Mark A. This is a mechanism we have at every town meeting in the warrant to pay unpaid bills from the prior years. Sometimes all bills don't get in by the end of the year and they carry over, and there needs to be a mechanism. There is a mechanism to clean that up, so that's all this is. Further discussion on that one? Hearing none.
Yeah, usually the explanation has the detail as to what exactly is being paid. Can't tell if this is one bill or several bills combined, but there's usually a good breakdown in a town meeting. Because for this one, at town meeting, you need I think it's a 9/10 vote. So this one will require everybody at town meeting to.
Right, I think the motion will include, and Karen, you can make a note on this because you're going to the motion meetings. The breakdown of the 10,696, 2,000 to this guy, $96 to this person, that kind of stuff. Okay? Just make a note for yourself. All right, further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. Dana?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Mark A?
Aye.
Mark K?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Chair is an aye. 8-0. Thank you. Okay, next is, we did the Harwich Libraries, right?
I thought so.
Yep.
Yeah, we've done the
Yes, we
next
did.
three.
Okay, so now we're down to 54. 54 is reaffirm and extend Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 56, has to do with tax abatements for Massachusetts National Guard and Reservists on active duty in foreign countries.
Move to accept and adopt.
I second. Mark A.
Okay, Dana moved to accept and adopt. Mark A. seconded. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll put it to vote. Mark A.
Aye.
Mark K.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Bob.
Aye.
Dana.
Aye.
Karen.
Aye.
Michelle.
Aye.
Chair is an aye. 8-0. Thank you. Okay, now 55. Who likes
Mr.
balloons?
Chairman,
Yes.
I'm gonna vote against the next 5 petition articles, unless someone has a positive motion, I'll move to definitely postpone. We can do them one at a time, or all together, or whatever you want to do.
Well, let's just quickly take them one at a time. So Article 55, prohibit the sale, distribution, and use of balloons. Danny, you're saying indefinite postponement?
Unless someone has a.
Yeah, does anybody have a positive motion? Hearing none. Dana?
I move to definitely postpone Article 55.
I second.
Okay, so moved and seconded moved by Dana, Mark A, seconded, definitely postpone Article 55, balloons. Discussion? I'll just say this, I personally don't need anyone telling me another thing I can't do with my life, so, you know, that's just how I feel on, I think, all of these. But anyhow, here we go. All right, we'll put that to a vote. Mark K?
Aye.
Mark A?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Michelle?
Abstain.
Okay, Karen?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Chair is an aye. 7-0-1 with Michelle abstaining. By the way, Michelle, just while I'm thinking about it, you see that I got your name clarified, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, excellent. There's only one L in Michelle, in our Michelle, so. Just so you know. Okay, hang on a second. All right, my favorite article, Article 56, adopted a new general bylaw, plastic reduction.
Move to indefinitely postpone.
Well, let's see, we have a positive motion on that first. I don't see one, so Dana?
Move to indefinitely postpone.
I second. Mark A.
Okay, it's moved and seconded by Mark A. to indefinitely postpone Article 56. It's a plastic reduction bylaw. My comment there, just that we have a, I think, exceptional recycling program in this town, that people on a voluntary basis participate in it, businesses participate in it. And this particular bylaw, I think, would put a burden on both businesses and the taxpayers to try and solve a problem that we're not going to solve, so.
And I would encourage people to reduce and reuse prior to recycling.
Well, we have all this paper right
Yes.
here, so, yes. Okay. All right, further discussion, again, the motion is to indefinitely postpone plastic
Now,
reduction.
the other thing, Mr. Chairman, is that this particular plastic that they're going after in this case, during the years of COVID, saved an entire industry in this town, and we don't know if we're around the corner from something else like that again or not, but I would hate to have this bylaw in place if something like that would happen again.
Okay, motion is to indefinitely postpone. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. Dana?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Mark A?
Aye.
Mark K?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Chair is an aye, 8-0 to indefinitely postpone. Okay, now we're moving on, the sequence of things. Article 57, seek special,
Sorry.
who is that, Michelle?
Mm-hmm.
Seek special legislation to prohibiting the application of fertilizer, to prohibiting. How about just to prohibit? Dana, you must be an expert in this one, because
He's good at spreading things.
does anybody have a positive motion on this? All right, hearing none. Dana?
I move to indefinitely postpone.
I second.
Okay, Dana moved to indefinitely postpone Article 57, and Mark A. seconded. Discussion?
I note that the selectmen also indefinitely postpone this.
Yeah. You know, one of the one of the questions you sort of run into is how many times are petitioners allowed to come back and keep,
Yep.
we'll spend more time talking about these things than we will on a, $72 million budget. What's that?
I don't think what's written in the warrant is in agreement with what Dana just said.
Oh,
About the
so is that
selectmen?
one-
Am I in the right order? Oh, wait, no, go on.
Yeas or none? 4 nays.
It's for A and A.
Huh?
Right, so they do not support.
Right, but they voted to accept and adopt, not IPP.
And they voted against it.
Yeah,
So we voted indefinite postponement, which is,
right.
okay. Further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. Mark K?
Aye.
Mark A?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Michelle? Karen?
Aye.
Dana?
I,
Chair is an aye, 8-0, thank you. Okay, moving on to 58. It's still,
It's a placeholder.
Yeah, placeholder.
yep, so we have to leave that one alone. Okay, Article 59, petition journal. Go ahead.
on 50, Mr. Chairman, this is by petition. So the selectmen put it in there, and then they voted not to support it. So apparently, somebody's working on some language to bring forward or something like that, but they're already not supporting it.
Well, I think we have to wait and see if something materializes. Right?
I'll move, no recommendation pending further information.
Okay. Okay, so Dana moved on Article 58. No recommendation pending further information. There a second?
I second to NRPFI it.
Okay. That's not a good acronym, by the way, but anyhow.
So-
So Mark A. Site,
That's what we have.
the motion is no recommendation pending further information. In other words, we don't have enough information to make a decision. So that's the way you deal with it. All right. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, we'll put that to a vote. Dan?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Mark A?
Aye.
Mark K, I'm sorry, Mark
That's all right,
A.
Don't worry.
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Karen? Karen?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Okay, 8-0. Okay, next is Article 59, school choice funds.
I'm not gonna support this, but, I know that the selectmen all supported it, if somebody wants to make a positive motion.
I'd like to make a positive motion.
Okay, hang on one second.
Oh, sorry.
So if I read this right, the 4 selectmen voted to support this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so now I'm ready. So Michelle, Article 59, you're moving accept and adopt?
Yes.
Okay. There a second? Chair will second for the purposes of discussion. Discussion, Michelle.
Well, I think this is an article that would at least get this subject matter up for review and for discussion amongst the homeschooling environment. I don't think there's a position overall in the homeschooling environment about this, but I do think that it would be beneficial for it to be explored and discussed. So I am supporting it.
Okay, further discussion? I remember this,
Will be,
what? Go ahead,
will be
Dana.
at town meeting, so it will be discussed either way, whether we support it or don't support it. I just think that all these kind of things eventually come back and take it away from the public schools. and we have trouble enough funding them.
May I comment?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but I do think that, I think having more choice, and I think having, you know, we have charter schools, we have our, you know, regular schools, and I do think that, you know, we have a large homeschooling population as well. And I support it because it would give more choice to parents and for finding specific solutions for individuals, you know, children's needs. So that's why I recommend supporting it.
Go ahead, Karen.
So when this has come up before, I think a big part of the conversation has been homeschool. I get and I support because there's a lot of unique needs why people homeschool and whatever. But this says all other forms of alternative education, including private school participants, etc. That's the part that bothers me, is that it's open-ended and could include absolutely everything. And I don't necessarily agree with it for some other parts, but homeschool I get. So I wish they would kind of focus on that.
I think that if I could just say my piece, I guess, I look at it, and I thought about this a lot last year when it was brought up. Quite frankly, every child, every kid, every student is an asset. And I think they deserve at least some minimal support, no matter what they do and what they choose. We have an article that we have already approved to spend, I forget the amount of money, you know, like $10,000 on preschool education, if you will, to give to parents or give to the providers of preschool education. We just spent gobs of free cash on other things, and I think kids are a lot more important than some of these other things. And I think in the end, quite frankly, we were talking about handfuls of kids, maybe, that would be involved here. And I just think they're an asset, and, you know, we should do something to support them. So that's just my feeling. Dana, do you have a... Go ahead.
Yeah, I just think if it was an article like the preschool one that had specifics and a, you know, a set amount of money, I might tend to support it more. But in the state that I'm in, yesterday the governor signed a new bill that did exactly this same thing and gave it to everybody. And the discussion's been raging down here for a couple of weeks in news every day and back and forth. And I've seen a lot of both sides. And the way it's written is almost the exact same way, so I'm not going to support it.
And I would also say that, you know, if you don't like the specifics in here or lack of specifics, the preschool one has no specifics other than we're going to see who shows up and we're going to dole out money. I mean, they haven't thought that one through either. So, I mean, you know, just to be fair and equal here, I guess, is what I would say. You know, I think this, well, I don't know where it's going to go, but I'm actually going to support this. So, further discussion.
Yeah,
Mark K.
I'm not against it. I mean, I've gone to private school. I've sent my children to private school, and it's a choice you make for the type of education you're going to receive. So therefore, we paid for it. And the other thing is, if you're going to accept public money, I think it's incumbent upon the receivers that they work under the same requirements that the charter or public schools work in terms of some type of assessment that you can show progress, and also something that the teachers and its parents, that they have some type of certification that they know the subject matter. So trying to put them on an equal playing field with the public or even charter schools.
I understand.
So.
Yep. Anybody else? All right, we'll put it to a vote. The motion is by Michelle to accept and adopt. This is Article 59, the school choice funds. We'll put it to a vote. Michelle?
Aye.
Karen? Karen?
I know. Aye.
Dana?
No,
Mark A.
Nay.
Mark K.
No.
Dan?
No.
Bob?
No.
Chair is an aye, so it's 3-5. So the motion doesn't carry, I just have to make a note. So the 3 are Michelle, Karen, and Peter. And the 5, Dana, Mark.
So in that case, Mr. Chairman, I would move to indefinitely postpone.
Yeah, hang on a second. Okay. Okay, so that motion failed, so now I'll entertain another motion on this topic. Dana?
I move to indefinitely postpone.
I second.
So it's moved and seconded to indefinitely postpone Article 59, the school choice funds. Dana. Discussion on that motion. Hearing none, we'll put that to a vote. Mark A.
Aye.
Mark K.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Bob.
Aye.
Dana.
Aye.
Karen.
Aye.
Michelle.
No.
Okay, and chair is no as well. So it'll be 6-2 with Michelle and Peter being the 2. Okay. So it's indefinitely postponed. Okay, now we're moving on. We're making progress here, folks. Moving on to Article 60, intermunicipal agreement for agriculture environmental educational facility located at 374 Main Street. Is that Leo's property, I think? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody have a positive motion on this?
Mr. Chair, I move we accept and adopt.
I second. Mark A.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept and adopt Article 60, intermunicipal agreement for agriculture and environmental educational facility located at 374 Main Street in Harwich, I assume, right?
North Harwich.
Yep.
Yeah, well, okay, it's a no money article. Discussion on the motion.
Yeah, I have a question, if anybody knows. This won't cost us any money? I mean, maybe not right now, but.
I don't know what the
No,
bit,
he's, there was an article back a long time ago for this property when Leo took it over. He's now trying to work it so it'll become an educational facility. He's cleaned up the property for that purpose and he brought it up at last town meeting.
Yeah, I remember that.
This one and the next one should complete that process, if he can get the votes.
okay.
So if he does it though, he's paying for that?
Yeah, he's already done the work to clean it up, which is the biggest part, and then whoever is going to utilize the property will pay to utilize it for education.
Okay.
They'll bring in the stuff.
Okay, further discussion on the motion. Again, it's accept and adopt. This is Article 60. Hearing now, we'll put it to vote. Mark A.
Aye.
Mark K.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Bob.
Aye.
Michelle.
Aye.
Karen.
Aye.
Dana.
Aye.
Chair is an aye, 8-0. Okay, let's see. Hold on. Article 61, amend action of annual meeting of 2000, Article 11, purchase of 374 Main Street. So this is a companion article? Huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Dana, do you have a motion?
Move to accept and adopt.
I second. Mark A.
Moved and seconded to accept and adopt Article 61, which is amend the action of the annual town meeting of 2000, Article 11, purchase of 374 Main Street. Discussion. Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. Dana?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Mark A?
Aye.
Mark K?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Peter's an aye, chair is an aye, so 8-0. We did herring fisheries before, didn't we?
We did.
Yep.
Okay, so now, I think we go back, and we get to, I think the only things we have left have to do with the capital plan and the spending, right?
Yep.
Okay, so Article 15
Page 19.
is to adopt the capital plan. So what I would like to do, since, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark K. and Karen, but if I remember how the Capital Outlay Committee is constituted, it's the two representatives from this board, Finance Committee, the chairman, Rich Larios, and you have one other member this year, right? Karen, didn't you have one other member this year?
Yes, there was one other one.
So it's, isn't there two more?
On capital outlay, what was the committee makeup?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of, oh, maybe it's just the one, it was one extra, so it was 2, 3, 4,
Okay.
5 of us.
So it was a 4-person committee, right?
5.
5.
Who's the
Six.
5th one?
She came from the planning committee. I forget her name.
The planning board, Ann Clark Tucker.
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
and Martha Donovan.
Okay, so maybe my mistake is that when we had the presentation of the capital outlay plan, I don't think everybody was there, or maybe they didn't come forward to the table when it was discussed. But anyhow, as our representatives from the Finance Committee to the Capital Outlay Committee, I'd like to hear from either or both of you about your thoughts on the capital plan, specific to Article 15, which is adopt a capital plan.
The whole capital plan. Yeah, I'm just looking at how they break it up, because they break it up from what's coming from free cash. But my take on it is this, is that we had some very good discussions. We had all of the department heads come in, and every one of them was supported by Joe, obviously, and they all came in and they answered all of our questions. So we had the one-pager given to us on all of their requests. They answered all of our questions to the best of their ability. And I think in most cases, it was, I felt like, we had the information we needed. I think my biggest objection to the capital plan is obviously 204, because I don't feel like we have, I read the document you sent out the other day, Peter, and I feel as strongly as I felt back a year ago, was that we still do not have a clear picture of what is needed. So if you go through the document you sent us, you go through the document of everything they said on the cultural center side, of everything we need to do to that building to take best advantage of the potential revenue, it's not captured anywhere. There's not a clear picture of, on the left, what are all the issues that need to be resolved and how much they potentially could cost, or some guesstimate or whatever. So that's my biggest objection to that plan. The other part of that is, and I know I'm kind of bringing two things together, but that document also didn't capture anything about the recreation programs in that 204. So what Kara did was related to the cultural center, which makes sense, perfect sense, but there's also the whole recreation part of that, and it sounds like the money or the revenue captured from all programs is going to go into the revolving fund for, I guess it's 204 and not necessarily for cultural, whatever. But that's my biggest objection to the capital plan. I felt like people were held back on answering the questions that we had. We asked Sean directly in length about their, that we had, heard there's in excess of $10 million of work that needs to get done there. And that was just on what they knew at the time. We know a lot more now based on what they're planning to use the building for. But at that time, we didn't know much of that at all. Based on what Sean had said, there was in excess of $10 million. And I heard, and I believe the source, that information was sent to our leadership in this town, and that information was not shared with us. So when I asked John about it, basically deferred to Joe. So I don't feel like we're getting full information for that place.
Okay, so, all right, so Mark, did you have a comment about the plan?
Yeah, I agree with Karen. I think the plan is mostly very good, with the exception of 204. And from the homework you gave us, what Carol wrote is aspirational. I hope this. So much of it is contingent upon air conditioning, and it's a kind of a drip, 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 because now I read about the makeup air is lacking. And you walk in that building, the air is dead. So I look upon this as if you were going to build an extension on your house. You know what you're going to have as an end product, okay? We're kind of getting there. I think Kara's done a good job trying to flesh that out. We don't know about the municipal use, but we know what the end cost is going to be. In fairness to the taxpayers, I don't think we've produced something that will tell them what the cost is going to be. An example is just in last week's Chronicle. The town of Chatham was going to buy the pool, Chatham Tennis and Racket Club. They had a professional engineering company that came in and gave them a cost study to bring it up to modern standards, $6 million. So the selectmen and the town voters had a very good idea of what it was going to cost. They decided not to go ahead. I think in this building here, we owe it to the taxpayers to say, this is what it's going to cost to bring this building up to speed. I think Kara's got great potential in the Performing Arts Center there. I think she can make it work. But, to be fair, I'm looking at the taxpayers. We want to give them a full, complete picture of what that building is going to cost, and we can go forward. So that's my take.
Okay, so, go ahead, Karen.
Sorry, just one more comment. So I want to make it perfectly clear that I'm 100% in support of cultural stuff as well as recreational programs and enhancing those across this town, because we keep getting the Finance Committee accused of not supporting that stuff, and that's absolutely not true. The only thing that I would like to get to is a clear understanding of what it's going to cost to run to build out those programs in that particular building, because we're talking about the enhancements to the building that are going to be needed to do these really great things that Kara and Eric Beatty have in mind for that facility on the grounds, because we have fields and stuff on there that Eric is planning to use. And so we just simply don't have a very simple spreadsheet that says, this is what I want to do, this is what it's going to take to update, and this is what that estimate is. And if we went through that whole thing, we could summarize that total column and have a very good picture for Town Hall. We do not have that.
Okay, so let me just throw out, and we're just talking general here, there's no motion on the table, whatever, so I'm just talking between the capital plan and then the funding of all those items in one lump, if you will, going forward. I think it's fair to say, and I think it's well known at least by us and several people, that we, the Finance Committee, unlike what we expected, we were basically excluded from the process. I think that's a fair statement. I think that after last year's town meeting, we expected to be partners in coming up with a true business plan for that entire facility, I think. So what has happened is, and we were told by the chair and the Board of Selectmen at one point in time, oh, focus on the capital plan, don't, I remember him saying that, focus on the capital plan, don't get involved with this other stuff, right? So here's our chance to focus on the capital plan, if you will. I think that Kara has done a reasonable job, but she talks about what she calls return on investment is cash flow from renting places, not trying to pay back at all the, renovation costs of the auditorium, et cetera, et cetera. In my mind, it would be you take 20% of that and put it towards giving it back to taxpayers. I don't know if that's the right answer or not. I do agree there's a lot of stuff about air conditioning. So in my head tells me here's one option. One option is we say, okay, we vote to approve the capital plan. The capital plan does identify that something needs to happen down at 204 Main Street. It's very nondescript. I mean, quite frankly, it throws stuff in there. But then we consider, again, it's just my thought process, then we get to the list of all those things we want to fund in one article. We do a no recommendation pending further information, and that further information is because we lack a business plan, period. And we state that in our explanation. On town meeting floor, all that other stuff is gonna pass, right? Even if they pull stuff out or do whatever, but at least we get to have a statement in the warrant that says we expected a business plan.
Peter, you're spot on. Spot on. We have been asking for a strategic plan, a business plan, way back when. And I think I read in a chronicle that one of the selectmen said that we don't need a plan. And that bothered me.
Well, see, right now, we're putting Band-Aids on it, right? And, classic case is, okay, we go replace the boiler. 3 years later, we decide we want air conditioning, and we decide, oh, that's gotta come out.
But you don't need it.
I don't know.
Can I just one clarification? The term business plan. I think Kara has made a pretty good stab at a business plan. Again, I don't want to repeat myself. I think in terms of nomenclature, a capital engineering, capital needs plan. They did what they did in Chatham. They hired a professional engineering company that came in and evaluated all the needs to bring that building up to present day standards. I do think we have a semblance of a business plan from Karen. I just suggest that the terminology of the business plan may be considered a capital improvement plan, what it would take.
Okay, but at the same time, for the municipal use over there, not the cultural center,
Right,
we don't know what the plan is.
that's true.
That's the other part of it though, Peter, right, is that's what I wrote in this, I took some notes, I went through the CARES document, and I wrote notes about that. So we talk about in there that, oh, maybe we'll use it for, I don't know, meeting space, and I'm like, well, you're gonna have to update all these, how many conference rooms you're gonna need? You're gonna need to update them. Are you gonna do video, everything that we have in, say, the room you're in, and what's that gonna cost? So these are, what are we doing from a recreation standpoint? I don't think we can have just piecemeal it. It's the entire building. It can't just be a plan on culture. It has to be bigger than that. And we have, again, it's the financials that are missing from Kara's work, not necessarily the vision, because she has some great ideas, in my opinion. I think there's some really great ideas, but the question is it doable based on financials? And we really don't have information. We really don't. We don't have a clear picture of what it would cost on any of these things, and would it make sense to add all of the stuff in the auditorium up, and whatever it comes up to, is it worth what you gain? To your point about ROI, like is it worth investing this money and what you can potentially get out of it in revenue? And her point was that we'll start getting revenue, tiny bits here and there over the next 3 years, but we really won't realize it for another 3 years. And so, all of that stuff has to be put together in a way that, the average citizen can understand it. And this document, so even sending this out to people would confuse them more. That simply does not summarize what has to happen. I can't, with all justification, if 204 Sisson is in that capital plan, approve it. I can't.
Okay, all right, Dana, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I guess, well, first on the adoption of the plan, I agree with most of the stuff you said, except I would go at it a different way. As you know, Peter, you and I go back to when we first started these plans. And when you look at the 5-year plan, in terms of leveling debt, all the kinds of things that we strive for when adopting a capital plan was created, this document doesn't have any of those things. It starts with 75 million, it goes to 20 million, goes to 5 million, goes to 10 million, goes to 14 million, or 125 million total. When you put, and you think it's front loaded, the 75 million up front the first year, and then 20 million the second year, but then what's not on the plan is another tens of millions of dollars for the missing parts.
Yeah, water.
So forth. To me, as a finance committee member, I think we're better off to let the Board of Selectmen get up and make the positive motion for this document.
Completely agree.
Because I don't support this document at all. There's a lot of great stuff on here that I would support and will support individually, but this document does not reflect what's going to be hitting the population of Harwich in the next 5 years. And I can't support it as written.
Agreed.
So, okay, so, you know, hang on a second. So one of the problems is, you know, I think, well, we all know that Michelle and I sat down with the water people and blah, 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 and came up with, I don't know, $84 million in the last 2 years or something like that should be added into the plan. But yet, Mark, I thought you told us in the presentation on Monday night that it was going to take them X amount of years to spend what they're already going to commit. So they may not get to that next phase in the 5-year window we're looking at. I don't know. I mean,
My recollection is, it's at least two or 3 years before they can get to construction.
yeah.
Permitting, everything like that, and then it's perhaps a 2-year construction period. So, you know.
And then, of course, you want to keep these things going too. So, you know, Dan.
We talk about a business plan or a strategic plan, and I mean, there's a model that's followed in private industry as well as government. And that is, you define your vision, your mission, your goals, your objectives, your performance standards, and performance measures. That is an accepted model industry-wide, both in the government and the private sector. And I would expect to see that kind of a model used to define where this 404 organization is going.
Okay, so one of the things just to put in your head, you know, we can be no or negative, whatever you want to say about it, on both the plan and the items that are supposed to be funded out of free cash associated with it. And by the way, let the Board of Selectmen make the positive motion on both of those articles and see where it takes them, right?
I like that idea.
I'm just throwing that out there. Michelle, did you have a comment?
I was just going to state that depending on what you put in for the water, that could impact how people feel about 204 with respect to its real costs. So if I think 204 is really going to cost me, 10 million over, I'm just guessing. But looking at the whole picture, if I know this water cost is coming down and I'm going to have to pay for that, then I might not be so open to a fully loaded 204 costs. And what is that fully loaded 204 cost? I think we all agree we don't know. So it's incomplete. I definitely think it's incomplete.
So because we have this $7 million in free cash, there's no doubt that there's a mad stampede to get to the feeding trough of free cash, right? I mean, look at it, you know, I don't ever remember being so loose with funding all these things, and 204 is like $1.9 million, right? I think there's a mentality that's kind of running around saying we better spend it this year because next year you're not going to be able to find it, you know? And so as a finance committee, it's our job to step back and say, hey, what's in the best interest of the town? So keep going. Who's got more stuff? What do you want to do?
Well, I think your last, I would agree with your last comment about what we should do. Because I think everything that people have said is correct, on both topics. The 204 is a substantially incomplete presentation, and that the capital plan, the 5-year plan, very noticeably includes 5 years of information about everything except 204 and the wastewater program. It's the fact that those are noticeably the only line items essentially with zeros going out at all, by itself makes the plan misleading.
Okay. All right, who's got a motion? We're on the capital plan.
I don't have a positive motion. If somebody else does, they can make it.
Somebody have a positive motion? I don't see one, Dana.
I move we indefinitely postpone this year's capital plan.
Okay, wait a minute, hang on. Dana's moved to indefinitely postpone the capital plan. Was there a second?
Aaron?
I'll second.
No, wait.
Go ahead.
Karen, did you second? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, discussion on that motion. It's on the table and definitely postpone the capital plan.
My comment is that if we wish to get the town to establish a plan for that organization, that we cannot, in my view, approve any funds over a 5-year period until that requirement is met.
Okay. Anybody else? Further discussion? Dana? Go ahead, Dana.
I know that some of the items on that wish list for that building, to keep the heat on and stuff like that, safety things, I can't see not spending money on that, because we have tenants and they're paying rent.
Okay.
But then, just on the adoption of the capital plan, I'll go by what I already said, that this plan does not reflect what the taxpayers of Harwich are going to see over the next 5 years, and I think we've heard enough to know that there could be a better job of presenting this.
Okay, anybody?
Benefit to the tax.
Okay. Anybody else?
Karen?
I have one quick comment. And they have a large revolving fund, so they could probably knock off a few things with that. So
Well, but here's the problem. In the way they've been handling it, like somebody asked me the other day, how'd they pay for those curtains that went up in the auditorium? I'm guessing it came out of the revolving fund. I don't know. I mean, I'm just guessing, right? So.
just one comment, like there was something in Carrie's plan that gave an estimate of like $156,000 to replace the wall or take down the wall or something like that. And so you go, where is that? That's not here. In order to get extra seating and all this other stuff, and they want to update the chairs and the rugs and the this and like the audio, everything.
Yeah, okay. All right, any further discussion? The motion on the table for adopt the capital plan, Article 15, is indefinitely postponed.
Yeah.
All right, we'll put it to a vote. Dana?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Mark A?
Aye.
Mark K?
Aye.
Aye.
And
Aye.
Bob, chair is an aye, 8-0, thank you. Dana, in your write-up, you're gonna have that nice spiffy explanation, right?
I'm gonna do my best, Mr. Chair.
Okay. All right, so now we move on to Article 16, is the capital outlay plan items funded from free cash. Now, one approach here is to indefinitely, no recommendation pending further information, which would be the business plan for 204 Sisson Road, and let the selectmen make the positive motion on this item. That's one approach. Anybody like that idea? Go ahead, Dana. Go
I
ahead.
like that idea, and what I'm worried about by saying business plan is, because we've been saying that for a good, almost a year now, and we keep getting slammed. I think we have to be much more specific when we talk about what's missing from here, and I think that's the financial part of the business plan. Because they'll say, well, you got it, you got the vision, you got the objectives, the goals, she's mentioned all that. I'll say, yeah, that's incomplete, number one. It doesn't include recreation or the municipal part of the building. But number two, because we're talking about 204, not just about the cultural center. And number two, there's no summary of the financials that says everything that's in here and that might be in Eric's plan or the municipal plan. How do you summarize that? That's what's missing in my mind. Like, it's not there.
So Karen, I'm gonna task you, or ask you to come up with 1 or 2 paragraphs that state that. But I think that more has to do with the capital plan than it does with what we're seeing here in front of us, which is Article 16. So will you do that, Karen?
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't need it today, but I mean, let's start putting it together. Dana.
I guess my question to the committee would be, I'm not tickled with everything on this list, but if the committee would support everything else on the list in general, just by consensus, is it just this one building right now that we would consider indefinitely postponing this article for?
In my mind, and I've said it before, I think the way it's written with 204 being basically $2 million, I think there are things like the fire alarm system, like the generator, like the heating system, something has to happen, right? Something needs to get done because that building is occupied and something needs to happen. Now, whether you need to start modifying the auditorium this year or you can wait until you get a plan, I don't know. On the other hand, if you modify the auditorium according to the cultural part of the plan, they'll start generating some revenues. We don't know what that means. It's like a big experiment, let's build it and they will come. So I don't know the whole answer to that. I'll also observe that there are some things on here, and somehow we got into the mode of having things that are less than $50,000 on the capital plan. I'm not sure how that ended up happening, but that's just the way it is. It's the way they're planning to fund it. So, I don't know. Go ahead, Dana.
So, based on that, in other words, I remember when we had the joint meeting that, the decision was made to take police cruisers out of the budget. We put them in the operating budget to keep them safe, make sure we bought them every year, the money would be there. Apparently they're using that money for something else this year that's more important, police cruisers, but I don't think so. So I wouldn't want to have any kind of negative vote on this. I would not vote to postpone this article because of the 204 Sisson. I would support this article over and above that because of police cruisers.
Okay, so that's the other way to do it, you know, I started out the conversation of, let's approve the capital plan, but let's, you know, be negative on this one. Now we're flipping it around because we voted negative on the capital plan, okay? And now we can be big boys and girls and just vote the whole thing and say, do it.
Yeah, or if you wanted to single this one item out, you could say we'll make a positive motion on the entire plan as listed with one change, and you could take out the auditorium piece on the Sisson Road, or you could just say we're voting the whole thing. I don't know, I don't think you do well with taking a little piece of it out.
Well, okay, so what'll happen is Mike, the moderator, will look for a positive motion on the whole thing, and the selectmen would make that. If we don't make it, the selectmen will. Okay?
Right.
So that's where
I'd
you
rather
are.
us just make the motion.
Now, it could be that we make a positive motion on the whole list, and I don't know what the mood at town meeting's gonna be, but somebody or some entity could get up and start, you know, taking these things out.
Well, certainly.
Yeah, I mean,
If you ask me today what the $50,000 to beautify the village is about, which is all about, I have no idea. And it's in there every year for the next 5 years.
I think their decision to lump all these together this year was a bad idea, because we didn't do it last year. We were separate warrants, and it's a bad idea. Why can't you just take all the vehicles on this list and put them all together, because there's a whole bunch of them, and then you could do something a little bit that'll be smoother, I think, in town meeting. And I don't think it's our place to approve the whole thing with a caveat. I can't do that.
Right. So the reason they put the whole thing together is because they know the yeses will add up, but the nos will not add up.
Yeah, I mean, I know why they're doing it. I don't agree with it, but my thing would be just to do it, you know, not enough information. And let the select board deal with it. Like, it's just so wrong. Like, they're strategizing against us. They know that we have a strong feeling about this, that we haven't gotten enough information, and they're trying to figure a way to get through that at town meeting. And this may go through, because people might go, if I don't vote for that, you mean I'm not going to get any of these things? Well, then people may vote for it, but that's at least I can have it on it won't be on my conscience, because I'm not voting for it.
I know that, like I said before, I can't support a no vote on this because the cruisers are in there. So I'll actually make a motion to accept and adopt Article 16, $4,906,922 from free cash.
hang on.
Yep.
Okay, Dana moved, accept and adopt Article 16, capital outlay plan, items funded from free cash at $4,906,922. Is there a second?
I second, Mark A.
Okay.
Now, people can amend that, make changes if they want to, but that's up to them.
Okay, well, the benefit of that is at least the finance committee makes a positive motion.
Yep.
Right? Now, we turn down, we can definitely, we can definitely postpone the capital plan now when it comes to implementing. And by the way, this is year one. So we complained in the other one that we didn't have enough stuff in the out years, which this one doesn't address, and rightly so. Okay, so they're, except for year one, they're two distinct sort of things. It is high risk. I've never seen us do this before, although I will tell you I've snooped around a little bit, and I know Sandwich does it. There's some other towns that lump all this stuff together. We have an extraordinary list, and it adds up to $5 million, basically. But there are some things in here, Dana, and you are correct. And I think that the plotting, scheming, if you will, to work this out this way has probably been successful. I don't know. But there are some things on here you just can't afford to lose, so. All right, further discussion on the motion. The motion is to accept and adopt. Michelle?
I just have a point of clarification. I know we had discussed separating a portion of the 204 money into 2 years, no? Into the auditorium coming in this following year. So does the 1.9 here represent that, or I'm kind of confused on that?
Okay, so if I remember right, the auditorium part of it's like $500,000, right?
I think
Roughly.
basically right.
That's included in the 1.9. If we had a chance to really dig into the capital plan, we would have done just what you said. Split them up over 2 years at least, but we didn't. So here we are, right?
Okay, thank you.
Just a discussion point. I thought Dana's idea originally to include everything but 204 made sense, because I agree with Dana, you've got police cruisers, you got a lot of good things in here, and I'm unfamiliar with the process, but I still, if we put it all together, could that mean that 204 will just run through and we won't have a chance to change it? I thought, as Dana said, if we could separate that and then we can work through the 204 system, would be the best, would be a good way to handle the situation.
In my view, this approach lacks transparency and accountability, and I can't support that.
So your recommendation would be what? Indefinitely postpone?
Indefinitely postpone, yeah.
Okay, Bob?
Well, what we did before was to have a motion and then amend it to a smaller amount of money. I mean, based upon what Mark and Dana both said, we could consider amending this to simply literally taking out the 204 line item and support a motion for everything else, without identifying it necessarily as everything else, but support a number that is whatever is 4,906,000 less 1,982,000, whatever that number is.
That can be done, although I think when the moderator, somebody help me out, I think when the moderator asks for a positive motion, he's gonna look for a positive motion on the whole thing initially. Yep, Dana, I wanna hear Dana. I'll get to you, Karen.
We have done it, I've made the motions before where there's been one change going in. You will find out in the motion meeting whether he's gonna allow that. So if that were not to be the case, then we could vote to amend the main motion. If we make it, we could vote to amend it on town meeting floor. In other words, what would happen is, if we vote to amend it and he allows the amendment of taking out a portion or all of 204 System Road, and if that's the reason we objected to the capital plan, because there wasn't enough vision on that building, then that would be a sensible thing to do. If he allowed that motion to go forward with everything else except that, then we're fine. If he did not allow that, then we would make a positive motion and then we would move to amend it. And that would get the discussion on 204 Sisson right out in the open, where everybody would be able to debate. So either way, we win, because if we take it out as main motion, then the selectmen have to amend it and put that in. And if we're the ones that have to amend it right after we make the main motion, it just emphasizes the position that we're in. We have to support, I think, in my mind, some of the other things on this list, but that one is a big stumbling block.
Well, okay, so let's just talk about the 204 for a second, because, my initial thought a couple weeks ago was, take out the auditorium stuff and push that into the following year, okay? And my main thought about that had to do with the air conditioning stuff. But as I go back and remember what the documentation that was written up, And by the way, I went over and looked at the auditorium, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. Those auditorium mods, which include a wall, if you will, move a wall and lighting and, you know, whatever, can be done regardless of air conditioning, in my opinion. So I came away from that saying, well, wait a minute, if I'm gonna change something, it probably won't be the auditorium, because that gives them a chance to go try and prove the experiment and see if something will happen. So then what am I taking out or delaying that's a big number? And I can sit there and say the heating system, which had a $500,000 boiler, something like that.
Yeah.
But yet at the same time, if the boiler dies, which I don't know, but I hear it may die, then what are we doing? You know, we got to replace the boiler. I almost think they have us in a position where you have to support it. You know, I'm just throwing it out there. Go ahead, Karen.
Sorry, there's no AC on any part of the capital plan at this point in time. And as a matter of fact, when it was brought up in one of our last meetings where we were at with the TA, he said, there's no plan for that to get added. Like, meaning, he said, we've survived in this building for 6 years without AC. And there's no plan to do it. Like, because we keep saying that's a huge number, that's a huge number. And he keeps saying that that's not the case. But the big things that are on the plan outside of the auditorium, I would agree. One is the boiler. The biggest one is the boiler. Those have to get done. I don't disagree with that. So we shouldn't get caught up in the AC. I don't believe that's anywhere on the plan. And Joe will get totally offended because he's made, in no uncertain terms, told us that's not going to happen at any time soon. It's nowhere in the plan. And so regardless of what Kara says in her document, right? So she's saying what she needs, and to somebody's point, it's you know, the perfect world. If she could get all this stuff, it would be perfect, but it's not going to happen that way. So I'm very much let the Board of Selectmen do a positive motion, and then we can ask for an amendment taking that out, and then the discussion for 204 starts. Or for not taking it out, but adjusting it so that the big stuff for what you say, safety, security, and building integrity, or whatever the heck we use for that comment, those things stay in, and everything else gets pushed out to sometime later, not necessarily next year, but sometime later, when we get a valid business plan.
How about this? How about we take that? What if we accept and adopt the plan knock 500,000 off this thing, make it 4,406,992, just 500,000 you take off of it, okay? And we can quite frankly say, we don't think that 204 Sisson Road is fleshed out enough to know whether all that money needs to be or can be spent effectively in the year we're talking about, period. And then let people get up and start going crazy.
I think we'll have a greater impact if we leave it to the Board of Selectmen to do a positive motion on the whole damn thing, and then we ask for an amendment, and then we raise that issue. I think it'll be a greater impact. I can't vote for this. I agree, we need a whole bunch of this stuff on here, but it's up to them to help us figure out how to get through this so that all that other stuff can get through, and we can address the issue at hand.
Bob.
That's my.
Yeah, I get it, Bob.
One of the problems, again, from not having a professional plan is that we also, in today's day and age, don't know if this would be a modern climate control system that is being called a boiler, but under changing state and federal law with regard to climate, that I'm not at all convinced that we would be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on something that really is already obsolete relative to what's going on in the state of Massachusetts and various other places. And they tend to include heating and cooling
And by the
systems.
way, if you look at some of the documentation on the supplemental funding for Brooks Academy, there's a statement in there about the heating system that says something like they have to comply with the new rules and regulations, something like that, I don't know.
And again, systems tend to be combined heating
Yeah,
and cooling systems
or
today.
comprehensive building automation system, I mean, that's what you,
Right,
you know,
and
that's what
that's-
you're into. Wait a second, all right, Michelle, have at it.
So this is just kind of procedural, but, you know, I'm new to this year, so why can't 204 be put in a separate article out of this whole article?
The selectmen control the warrant, not the finance committee. The finance
I
committee,
see.
the finance committee's role is to react to the warrant that the selectmen put together. Now, someone could have put a petition article in that said something, but I didn't see that, you know, kind of thing.
Okay,
All right.
okay, thank you.
Dana, did you have your hand up? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just say on the boiler, one thing I do know is the facilities committee, the people that worked on those things, Sean and company, were very nervous that the existing boiler was gonna make it through the season that we're just going through now. So they have no hopes of it getting through next year, so. That's just, like I say, there's too many things on this list that absolutely need to be done. They lumped them together for a reason, and I think the reason is to get the yeses. I'm not gonna vote no, because it looks like I'm not supporting police groups, and.
That's it. Go ahead, Karen. Go ahead, Karen.
Don't you, if you were sitting in the audience rather versus the front table, that, let's say we let the Board of Selectmen make the motion, we say we want an amendment to take $500,000 out for anything that's not safety, security, whatever, don't you think that that'll gain support from everybody sitting there going, all we have to do is take $500,000 out of this to get all this other stuff? Don't you think that's we want the town I want the town to have that perspective to say, you know, we're not asking for a ton right now. We're still saying, well, nearly $1 million probably, and just take out $500,000. If they chose to put it this way, it's their fault for putting it that way to make it a little bit more difficult.
Okay, Dana?
I think we can do that, Karen, but I think we do it with us making the positive motion and then us amending it right afterwards. I think that's, says that we want to put the other things on here, and in order to show that we made a positive motion for this, and now we're gonna amend it to take out this.
And the only thing we're talking differently is to have the board make the positive motion.
Right.
So one of the questions becomes, you know, I think the folks that brought forward the petition article last year to try and do the study, the plan, whatever, whether they're still around, still active, are they gonna get up and make a motion to take that out of there? I have no idea, you know, I have no idea. I'm guessing somebody would, but I just don't know.
Well, you have a motion right now.
I know it. All right, we done discussing? Let's see where this takes us. So we have a motion on the table. Article 16, accept and adopt. Dana made the motion, 4,906,922 free cash, and Mark Amarez seconded that motion. And we've had a very good discussion. So let's put that one to a vote. Mark A?
Nay.
Nay, okay. Mark K?
Yes.
You're a yes. Okay.
No,
Dan's a no. Bob?
No,
Okay. Dana?
Aye.
Karen?
No,
Michelle?
No,
Chair is a no. So that motion does not carry. Somebody have another motion they would like to make?
I guess I would make a motion that this article be indefinitely postponed.
Okay,
Now, if I understand that, it means you just delay or buy additional time for folks to study this approach and decide whether it's effective or not.
well, the approach to funding police cruises is not something you're gonna be able to do. Is that what you're,
No, I'm saying that in my view, many of these projects should be individual articles.
I know, but they're not.
I know.
They're not.
That's why.
So, yeah,
That's.
yeah. So, all right, so let me just pursue, let's not follow that as a motion, just hang on to that a
Okay.
second. I think I originally started saying out that one thing we could do is no recommendation pending further information, and put in our explanation that we were expecting a full business plan for 204 Sisson Road, period. And then the Board of Selectmen will make the positive motion, and we can decide later if we want to amend that motion, whatever we want to do.
I like that version.
Huh?
I like that version.
Anybody else like that?
I like
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Karen?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, that works because it gets to where I want it to go, yeah.
I think,
So let's try that. Somebody want to make that motion?
isn't that the same as indefinitely
No.
possible?
No,
No.
no.
What's the
It
difference?
means we haven't taken a vote on it. We're waiting for more information. So we didn't say yea or nay. Just
Oh,
give
I
us the
see.
information we need, and then
Yeah.
we'll make a decision.
Yeah,
So Dana, you want it or shall I take it?
Yeah, I move that we make no recommendation pending further information.
I second, Mark A.
Okay, so Dana made the motion. Mark A. seconded. And that is no recommendation pending further information. And Dana in the explanation will say, we're looking forward to
I'll say
receiving,
that, 204 Sisson was looking for a plan and we don't.
we're looking for a comprehensive business plan, as we expected or were promised at the 2022 annual town meeting.
It's in Article 57.
Right. I would also like to include there one sentence that the finance committee does support many of the items on this list, but without a business plan, it cannot move forward.
Right.
Subject to
Yeah.
that.
Write that up. I mean,
Exactly.
write that up, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so
Yeah,
the motion is no recommendation pending further information. Dana made the motion, Mark seconded. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll put that to a vote. Mark K.
Aye.
Mark A.
Aye.
Dan.
aye.
Bob.
Aye.
Dana.
aye.
Michelle.
Aye.
Karen.
Hi.
Chair is an aye, 8-0. Thank you very much.
Something we all agree on.
Well, you know, I think the good news is that both on the capital plan and the capital outlay articles here being funded, we agreed 8-0. So it isn't going to
Yeah.
look like two of us were doing, you know, whatever, three of us were being renegades or something. I think we had a good deliberation here. I feel, feel good about it. So let's go forward. Okay, is there anything else on here?
I'm good,
I think we got them all, right?
I think so.
yeah.
All
We
right.
have a position on it, voted position on every one, even though some of them were looking for additional information.
Okay, so Dana, logistically, your list, which has the votes and the rationales,
Yeah,
are you gonna be able to get that updated? Or do you want to flip it to me and I'll update it?
I'll flip it to you because I do not have all the individual names. I could probably, as to how each vote went, but I could probably come up with them, and you have that better at your fingertips. I know they're in the minutes and all
Okay,
that.
why don't you do this? Can you update this based on the verbiage?
Yes,
Send me a Word document
yeah,
and I will add in the who voted what.
all right,
Can you do that tomorrow? Well, I know, I'm just saying, I know, no, I understand that, so, because I have to make a commitment within the selectman's office or town administrator's office to get him this, you know,
Yeah.
like, quick. Okay, so why don't you,
Most of it done. I'll get a lot of it done tonight, but yeah.
okay, so you work on it, flip it to me by like noon tomorrow, whatever you got, okay? And you can tell me if you're missing some holes or whatever, and then I'll finish it out with the individual, you know, names and whatnot.
Okay.
Okay? Now, is there anything else we need to do on the warrant? I think we're good, right? We made a lot of progress last week and tonight. Good job,
Yeah.
folks. Good discussion, you know, a healthy discussion. So I'm pleased with the work that we've done. So I don't see a need for us to meet next week unless something crazy comes up. Karen will be representing us at the motion meeting, which is on the 10th, Karen, I think it is.
It's, yeah, I'm just pulling up my calendar to verify 100%. Yeah, it's the Tuesday following, yes, so it's,
Yeah, it's a week from Tuesday.
it's the 11th,
Okay, whatever, but
Yes.
you're locked in.
I am.
And so at that meeting, Karen, you'll sit there and go through, the motions will have been prepared by town council. And you go through the motions and you want to make sure they're consistent with our votes. Okay? Unless we don't have a positive motion, then the selectman would make the positive motion.
Okay, thank you.
Or somebody else from the audience.
Yeah, whatever, but, yeah. Okay?
Okay,
All right, good.
So
So,
Karen, when I send whatever I send to Peter, I'll copy you on.
yeah, that'd be great. I just wrote to review that in detail, so I have a good handle on it.
yeah,
Yeah, I think I-
send it to both of us, and then Karen, once I'm done with it, I'll send it to the whole team, quite frankly, but, yeah.
Thank
It's
you.
a tremendous document.
Well, no, it is. No, it's
It's
good.
very helpful.
It's good. Okay, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
It's non-debatable. All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye. It's 8-0. We are adjourned. Thank you.